just want you to know, I'm not going to apologize for the monster I become once this game comes out. Thank you to our $5 patrons, Sinners Lancelot, Argoon, and the Divine Anpu. And big thank you to our $25 patron, the Mr. Greed. Now, before we hop into this breakdown / review of the Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer, it just... Hold on, bro. I gotta stop. Please, leave your alters of the trailer in the comment section down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, make sure that little notification bell so you miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below where you can support me for as low as $1 a month. Any support would be appreciated. Now let's just get into it, dog. What's up, guys? I got the pencil, and here we are to break down and review the Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer. Okay, the only reason I'm just doing the trailer, by the way, I know maybe some people care about my opinion on the whole new phone game and the ending of Dark Road. I can do entire separate videos on that, but I just know I'm going to be talking a while for the trailer itself, and I didn't want this to be like a 3-hour video, because I have so many things to say about all three. So if you want to hear my thoughts on that, tell me in the comments section down below. I'm more than happy to break down those things too, because there are a lot of details in those trailers that I want to talk about as well. And who knows, it may just happen anyway, but still, you know, your support would help out a little bit. However, regardless, Kingdom Hearts 4. Fun fact, if you look throughout the channel, from the outro image to so many different, like, I may be an anime YouTuber on like the main line, or a manga YouTuber, whatever you want to call me, an artist YouTuber, whatever, but Kingdom Hearts is the basis of a lot of me. I probably have the most Kingdom Hearts merch. Compared to any other merch I own, I wear Kingdom Hearts memorabilia, I am hunting and searching for an affordable Keyblade. Like, there's so many things that Kingdom Hearts does for me as an individual, so obviously, Kingdom Hearts 3 meant a lot to me. But obviously, the weight to Kingdom Hearts 3 meant a lot to me more. And the thing is, right, Kingdom Hearts 2 dropped in 2007, at least for me. And we had to wait 6 years. Bro, it's only been 3 since KH3, bro. I can't even begin to describe how happy I am. However, regardless of that, we do have a trailer to break down. So we must hop into it with a juicy 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, look at me. Look at me move. Look at me spin. Look at me move. Look at me spin. Look at me move. Look at me spin. Editing me? It's time. It's time. I'm not going full screen, and I'm not going to have the music on, because I'm scared, alright? Like, I've got the footage you're probably going to see is flipped, reversed, decolored. I'm scared of the Mighty Mouse, okay? I love him, but I'm scared of him, so I'm not going to risk it. However, that doesn't matter. There are subtitles in this, and if there aren't, I will turn them on. So, let's hop right into it. I already got a pause around start. Like, and here's the thing, right? The Lost Master arc is something that I'm very mixed on as a whole. Like, as much as I do love Kingdom Hearts, I love Kingdom Hearts 2. I love a lot of the conclusions, and you can definitely start to see build up for the Lost Master arc, especially around Dream Drop Distance. You could argue Birth by Sleep, but even I still think that wasn't like much of a glimmer in Nomura's eye at that time. But the Lost Master arc is something I'm mostly interested in. My only critiques with it is that I think setting up the next arc kind of took away from the ending of the Dark Seeker saga in a bit. Like, there were so many things that had to be set up for that, from like Union Cross, and I think, and this is no offense to the Lost Master arc, but in terms of what it had to do to the series in order for it to exist, like, I can tell you confidently, if Damo, I forget the rest of his channel name, but if Damo didn't exist and have a whole breakdown of Kingdom Hearts Key, I would not know what's going on. Legitimately, back cover did not do a good job. Like, and the thing is, the only disappointment I have with the phone game, I know I'm not talking about the phone game, but the only disappointment I have with it is the fact that it's missing Link. Well, no, it's a phone game rendered in 3D, and we couldn't just get like a 3D version of Union Cross first. Like, I know, obviously that new not Quadratum. So many things. I'm sorry, my mind's all over the place with this. But in terms of that new Scala ad Kylum, the darker one that we see, the one that Ephemer built, the thing about that is, it's very, very cool. Very, very great. However, I think what Square Enix should have focused on is a remake for Union Cross in like the whole 3D manner. You don't have to have a customizable character. You can just have one main character. Especially considering, and in the end, our main character is so important, we literally become Xehanort. So like, you could just make the mechanic character. I know that takes away the allure of the MMORPG parts of Union Cross, but admittedly, I mean, I didn't care. But that's a question for y'all. Like, that's the only issue I have with this arc. I feel like it kind of killed the end of the Dark Seeker saga because so much had to be set up for this arc. And on top of that, I feel like the way the background information to have any context for what this arc is and where this arc comes from, it's not enough is given in a way that most people access. Like, I can't imagine like the average Joe Smo. Well, not even an average Joe Schmo, like a person who played the number titles and some of the side titles that they just happen to have the consoles for. You won't understand the Lost Master arc. There's so much stuff that's probably going to be revealed here that only makes sense if you know about Union Cross. And I think there's a very big weakness. And I hope they rectify that weakness. I wouldn't even mind, like, in between 4 and 5, KH4 and 5, there was a remake. Like, you know how we had Chain of Memories and the Rechain of Memories? You can literally just do recross the key or reunions. Oh, that would actually be a bomb name. Reunion Cross, or I think Reunion would be a better name. Kingdom Hearts Reunion. And then you could do the entire, like, all the background for this. Like, Cage 4 can be an entire mystery settled game, like, or mystery based game. I'm perfectly fine with that. Mainly because there's still a whole ton of mystery even after playing Key and stuff like that. And not even, I didn't play it. Learning about Key. Like, there's so much stuff behind there that still have answers or questions that need to be answered. So the best way, I think, to flush out the Lost Master arc is you can have 4 be all mysterious, go wild, go nutty, go crazy with that. But then in the middle between 4 and 5, do a reunion game. Do a game set up just like, well, maybe not just like Chain of Memories. I'd rather we not have the card system. But just do a live action RPG for the Union Cross era. And hopefully even the Scala Kylum new version era. I'm still not playing the phone game, gosh darn it. But enough of that. I've spent so much time on just this beautiful image right here, so let's get it moving. Computer, why must you yell at me right now? Okay. I told you I'm going to be here for a while. We are 4 seconds in. I don't know how long I've been recording, though. But the thing is, right, look at the beauty. Look at the grace. Look at the legendary nature of this. It's simply gorgeous. Like, if you were to ask me, it's simply beyond comprehension and belief. Hold on one second. I need to check something. Yeah, we doing good. All right. But the thing is, right? And hold on, I'll let it play a little bit more. Oof. All right, let me just development footage subject to change. If this isn't the ending you desired, if it brings you despair, ooh, the bar. If it brings you despair, I'm despairing that this game isn't out right now. However, a big complaint that I've been hearing so far, and obviously, like, I would have done a genuine reaction to this. And to be fair, I did have a genuine reaction to this, but I was not anywhere near my recording setup, and I couldn't wait. Like, I'll admit, when it comes to Kingdom Hearts, like, there are few things I can resist in life. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, I wanted to hold off on all the Kingdom Hearts 3 hype trailers because I knew they're going to spoil a whole bunch of stuff. That's what trailers do. However, I just couldn't help it. I was literally breathing, like, I was injecting Kingdom Hearts into my veins. So the moment I saw this drop, I had to. Like, I simply had to watch it, so I couldn't do a genuine reaction. However, due to this, I've already, like, consumed 10 different reactions of different people. And a common thing I'm hearing and just seeing online is that people don't like the realism of it. And I believe this is Unreal Engine 5. Ooh, spicy. And notably, actually, no, we'll get into that a little bit later. But regardless, this just looks beautiful, right? Like, if you were to tell me, like, I can see some of it, I can see some polygons, I can see some shapes, mainly because, I don't know, I haven't necessarily studied game design, but I've watched enough YouTube videos about game design that I can recognize stuff like that. And obviously, I wouldn't call myself an artist, especially not a 3D artist, but, like, I can recognize certain things. Like, I can tell dimensioning and paneling, stuff like that. But look at how beautiful this is. Look at the reflection right here, cast by the light. Look at the attention to detail that the sunshine is shining through there, and when it doesn't get blocked by something, it's put through. Look at the specific shapes and detail. Like, all of this is gorgeous. And this is just a random shot of 2 elevators and some stairs. Like, this is an office building. Why am I so hyped? It's just because it's beautiful. Oh, it's beautiful. However, if this isn't the ending you desired, if it brings you despair, ooh, and this is another interesting thing. Like, once again, I'm breaking down everything you see. Notably, look at the details we have here. None of these look exactly like Kingdom Hearts details, but they're similar. Like, that looks kind of like Axel's Chakram. All of these kind of look like some sort of weapons that have been wielded in the past. Like, this is Axel's Chakram. This looks like Cyax's Claymore. I'm not even sure what that is. I ain't gonna lie to you, but I wonder if that means anything. Maybe because those caught my eye because those look like Kingdom Hearts detailing. That may just be kanji, and I just don't know because I don't read nor speak Japanese. But at the same time, I don't know. I'm very intrigued. And this is, once again, just a very beautiful city, a very beautiful landscape. And once again, the only reason I can tell, like, it's still a video game just because of the detailing there. And, like, things wouldn't look this good in real life. Like, the perspective would be a little bit off. But that's just real life deformed being put in the video game. However, let's keep it pushing. However, if this isn't the ending you desired, it brings you despair. Notably, this is interesting. This is very interesting, right? Because, I mean, I'll let the line play off a little bit before I start breaking that down, but we'll get into that. We'll get into that. Ooh, it's so beautiful. I wonder. Someone translate these, gosh darn it. But ooh, look at the darkness. And do we see people in these buildings? Nah, these are just empty buildings. But I honestly can't. This is development footage. I don't think it's gonna get much crazy, but still, like the attention to detail here is immaculate already. And unless you're literally, is that a Coke ad? Is that a green Coke bottle? I don't know. Like, what are all these advertisements? Someone zoom in for me. But in actuality, hold on. Oh wait, the line's gone. Your options are endless. Okay. Then, oh wait, no, there we go. I missed the line. Okay, so essentially the line is, if this is, I can't read. If this isn't the ending you desired, if it brings you despair, ellipses, then leave this world for another. Interestingly enough, I wonder who's speaking this line. Notably, because I don't know the Japanese voice actors. This may be the Master of Masters, this may be Lucius, maybe Donald Duck for all I know. No, I'm kidding. But in actuality, that is very interesting. Because notably in Kingdom Hearts 3, the big idea that was established about the final world is that's where hearts go when they got the ending they didn't desire, essentially, when they are clinging on to something held in life. However, the idea here that if you don't like that ending, or the ending you had in the one life, you can still leave to another world. So the final world isn't really the final world. And I know the final world, like, there are a lot of theories of what the final world really is, whether it actually is a sort of pseudo afterlife. Most people, like me, myself included, and a lot of other people have deemed it as a purgatory of sorts. Like, you can't just go there, and you gotta stuck there in star form for forever unless someone comes and saves you. Look at Domine, look at possibly the nameless star that is theorized to be that girl from the Verum Rex trailer. Like, there are people there that have obviously done things, and you can go. And the interesting thing is, you can go to that world with a body. You can interact with that world naturally, even though it's a world that should be beyond that. Like, it's a place of death. And to be fair, we visited the underworld before. A underworld in the endless cosmos of Kingdom Hearts universes, there is an underworld that we visited, and that's what the end of this trailer alludes to. But in actuality, I really wonder if all the stars that are trapped in this final world could head to this unreality, or an unreality of another. Like, this is so stupid. I know. If a non-Kingdom Hearts fan, by the way, like when it's free, I mean, I'd greatly appreciate if you pushed it. It especially helps on videos like this that I know won't get as many views as the regular videos do. However, regardless, what's really interesting to me is the idea of this world, because of what it means for what the final world could really be. Because sure, a purgatory, at least in terms of my understanding of it, it's kind of like an endless place. Like, regardless, you may stick there, but once you go there, you kind of just fade out of existence. Like, after a while, your heart will fade away, or your soul, in the case that we know it as. However, in this case, it seems like the final world, if anything, would be a pit stop to many other worlds, other unrealities. And the thing with this whole unreality debacle is the idea that if all those stars are trapped there, what's the trigger? What leads them to a place like this? Notably, we know Sora got here by, doing a little too much heart leaping. But how does Sora get here? Unless our knowledge is mistaken, she just went kaput. But that's the thing. Did Sora also go to the final? I know I'm talking about Sora even before you say it, but you've watched the trailer, gosh darn it. You clicked on the breakdown. If Streletsy is already here, then that means either A, but then again, so many questions, but I guess the biggest question here did Sora go back to the final world when he disappeared at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3, or did he come straight here? Because if he came straight here, that means hypothetically, you can skip the final world. The final world, quote unquote, maybe the barrier between, like, the two realities, if you will, like the reality we know of in Kingdom Hearts and this quote-unquote unreality. Maybe, hypothetically, if you've gone there before, you can skip it, or you can leave. But it seems like that may be limited to people of strong hearts, because we know obviously Sora and Sora are both Keyblade wielders, and notably to wield a Keyblade, regardless of how many Keyblade wielders are actually were, you do need a strong heart. So does that mean if you have a strong enough heart while wielding, such as being a Keyblade wielder, you could just skip the final world and go to somewhere else? And in this somewhere else, and the thing is, the biggest thing, Celestia calls this an afterworld for people like us. But wasn't the final world an afterworld? Like, it's called the final world where you go to after you go kaput. Like, okay, essentially, I'm analyzing the line. And the thing about this line in particular, right? Despair, leave this world for another. And then the follow-up line is what really gets me. Look at the darkness. Your options are endless. That is concerning. But in actuality, the thing is, if your options are endless post your death or despair in the Kingdom Hearts universe, is this one of many unrealities? And if so, is this unreality tied into other ones? Is it an entirely unique one that only certain people go to? Could, like, say a non-Keyblade wielder with a strong heart, say someone like Leon or Yuffie or Cloud or Sephiroth were to come through the final world, would they not be able to come to this reality, or would they choose to be able to come to this reality if they knew about it? Because notably, it seems like Strelitzia and Sora come here inadvertently. Like, they didn't mean to do this, but they end up here. Meanwhile, someone like the Master of Masters ended up here seemingly by his own volition. Did the Master of Masters die? No, supposedly he just left. I'm going off. Let me get better, lots of better visuals. You've kind of been staring at this screen section for a while, so let's go. Notably, it's very interesting, right? Because it, once again, leaping, I don't know, I was going to say yeeting, leaping, jumping, leaping all the way back to Union Cross for the ending of it. One of the biggest points about this world that was noted by the Master of Masters is that it was independent of the chains of light and darkness. It was just completely, it was an abstract concept to it. It didn't exist. However, now that Sora came here, the darkness is here. And notably, we know that even back in the days of Union Cross, lights and hearts weren't pure. Like, so Celestia being here should have caused the same effect, right? But apparently it didn't. So Sora begets darkness. And to be fair, there was the whole idea of anti-form, being a drive form in Kingdom Hearts 2, and rage form being a natural part of Sora's heart. So did Sora, essentially by coming here, skip a purification process that was maybe meant to happen? Because for this darkness to appear the day he wakes up, it's almost like he was like a parasite. Like, you know how, this is going to be a horrible analogy, but you know how when settlers travel in new lands, they bring diseases that they themselves may be immune to or maybe used to, but any of the natives would not be. So Sora, being essentially a germ from the reality we know, carried over the parasite or sickness known as darkness to this world, and thus caused the darkness to spawn. And it could explain why the darkness waited so long, or seemed to wait so long, even though beings like the Master of Master and Celestia are here. Two beings that, as far as we know, I don't think Celestia was a Princess of Heart, and nor do I think the Master of Masters was a Prince of Heart. So I doubt they have pure, empty, bottomless light within them. So how did they not beget this darkness? I don't know. Because the thing is, when we go to see this darkness form, one, it looks beautiful, for one. The heart resides now this is another bar. The heart resides within the soul, which in turn is guided by fate to its rightful place. That's a no, I'm sorry. But in actuality, that's interesting, right? So the heart is something within the soul. And the soul seemed to be in Kingdom Hearts, at least, seems to be somewhat tied into the body, the life force that guides the body. But the heart, the thing that contains all the power of an individual, or a majority of the power of an individual, resides within the soul, or resides within the body that is being powered by the soul. And but the heart is guided by fate to its rightful place. And what does that mean? Okay, so the idea of fate within Kingdom Hearts is strange. Notably, we had the whole original timeline that we saw in Kingdom Hearts 3. Everybody dies. Like, simple put, that original timeline that we saw, everyone's supposed to go kaput. there was no happy ending planned in that original timeline. As the Book of Prophecies itself said, darkness will prevail and light expire. But Sora, somehow, like, I get power of waking, but as young Xehanort describes it, it's a power that's meant to traverse hearts to reach worlds, not worlds to reach hearts. So I don't really know how Sora did a whole timeline reset, but he did. So, but at least according to this line, the heart resides within the soul, which in turn is guided by fate to its rightful place. Is there a higher concept of fate than the one that was witnessed and overwritten in Kingdom Hearts 3? Because notably, Sora, by going into quote unquote, now see, I'm taking, because I'll admit, even after KH3, I've been like gobbling a whole bunch of Kingdom Hearts media and like theories and stuff like that, because I simply can't help myself. I'm sorry, I'm a filthy individual. I just must consume. But in actuality, the thing here that intrigues me is that there could be higher levels of fate, considering there are higher levels and different levels of reality. The reality that we know of, which is composed of countless worlds on a dual-sided spectrum between light and darkness, and what used to be a world with no darkness and light at all. So what does this mean? Is there a lower level fate that guides these individual realities, and then there's a higher level fate that guides the overall realities that happens to be tied into the lower realities of hearts? But then again, the weird thing is, right, the Keyblade can only be forged by higher dimensional beings of light and darkness clashing, making essentially every single Kingdom Hearts character you saw in the Keyblade Graveyard, even Kairi, a 4D. Kind of nutty. But in that sense, they're already higher dimensional beings with hearts within them that can transcend time itself. But fate is still a thing that matters. Like, that's actually kind of crazy. And I know, to be fair, it was the fate of Sora to suffer the consequences of using that power. But if the question is, right, is there free will? This is gonna sound wild. Is there free will in Kingdom Hearts? Because if all is guided by fate, if even your heart itself, the thing that's supposed to make you individual, is guided by the capital F, is there any individuality? Was Sora always meant to rewrite the original timeline? Or is there a higher super timeline? Like, the more... You're going a little bit nutty, my boy. You're going a little bit nutty. However, notably, this is a place of interest, right? Because we see... Oh, it's gorgeous, for one. But two, I believe... I forget where it is. Yep, okay. So, one, let me just talk about how... like, I love art. And my name's that guy with the pencil. I feel like it's not too hard to discern. However, there's just some things are just simple beauty. Like, looking at this just makes me want to hurl because of how gorgeous it looks. Like, the water, the leaves. Look at the water. Like, it is just insane how gorgeous this looks. Like, how do you do this? How do you do this? With pencils, Unreal Engine 5, of course I can. I don't care what it is. This is can you imagine? Video games have come so far in what, like 30 years? Barely? What? Final Fantasy VII, the original, came out in what, in the 90s? We're in the 2020s, and look at this. This looks as good, if not better, than real life. I would drink that water. I know it's green, but I would drink that gosh darn water. That's how gorgeous it looks. That is amazing. However, obviously, the thing to note is not on this side. It's this slide right here. Notable slide. Oh, look at the light reflecting off. Look at the shadowing from the tree. Oh, I know it's beautiful. However, this thing right here is supposed to be a Star Wars reference. Now, notably, I do like Star Wars. I'm not the most mighty of Star Wars fans, admittedly. I can tell you a lot more about Kingdom Hearts than I can tell you about Star Wars, in short. However, if that is Star Wars being alluded here, I wonder, because is this just a site of another world within Quadratum? Or is this another part of Unreality? Or is this another one of the Unrealities that someone can travel to? Is the entire premise of Kingdom Hearts 4 going to be traversing the different Unrealities, which would tie back into the line here about your options being endless? The different Unrealities that someone like Sora can travel to because he's unbound, because he's unchained. Is it possible that he could travel to these worlds like Star Wars, like Marvel, like whatever, any other Disney live-action properties, because he himself is unchained by it? Like, he has the many options, and since he himself has already used worlds to traverse hearts, he can now properly use the power of awakening to use hearts to traverse worlds. But these worlds, due to him being a higher dimensional being that's trapped in a new body, could he hypothetically, I'm throwing this out, Could he traverse these different unrealities and keep doing so in a way to possibly get home? Who knows? I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. If this is a Star Wars thing, great. Shout out to all the Star Wars fans who are happy about that. I'm happy about it too. I'd be very intrigued. It'd be a great way to keep Mark Hamill in there. But the only thing I don't know about incorporating Star Wars is that there are like 3 major eras. So which one do you pick? Like, if you're gonna do a 3-game story arc with Star Wars, you'd start off with the prequels and go to the sequels. Well, no, then go to the original trilogy and go to the sequels, right? But if you want to use your like existing voice cast, like your Mark Hamill's and stuff like that, you got to go to the sequel trilogy, and that sort of runs you out. Like, even then, you could just do a whole 3-game arc with that like, possibilities are, or as the game itself said, your options are endless with what you could do with Star Wars. So I'm very, very intrigued to see what they do with that. And also, if they're doing Star Wars, I wonder what else they would do. Like, could they do Marvel? I feel like Marvel's a bit too difficult, though. Mainly MCU Marvel's a bit too difficult. Mainly just because of it's all interconnected. Like, there's not... You can't necessarily say that Sora goes and visits Black Panther in Wakanda, and then he goes and visits Iron Man in New York, and act like those are different. Then again, I mean, you could just have slight differences, really. Because, to be fair, isn't it theorized on multiple occasions that Rapunzel... well, I know at least Rapunzel and Frozen, they do take place in the same universe, I'm pretty sure. But on the whole, like, multiverse theory that Kingdom Hearts operates on, no, they don't. So, to be fair, they're unbound. I'm very intrigued to see where they go with this and what they could do. Because that's big right there. That's juicy. All right, let's move it on. I did not know what those were. They look like flesh flowers, but I think they're just, like, mushrooms, fungi, something of the sort. Or they're just flesh flowers. Are those also a Star Wars reference? I admittedly didn't do much research in the Star Wars angle. I kind of saw it. Oh, look at how beautiful it is! and then the contrast. Like, I love Kingdom Hearts 3, like, notably. It is still one of my favorites. But the thing is, like, the only artistic issue I have with Kingdom Hearts 3 is that I feel like, due to the constant jumping around in production cycles, the game ended up looking still beautiful, not gonna lie. But, like, especially compared to this kind of art style and jumping back to this, the rough edges really show. And that's crazy because, like, jumping back from Kingdom Hearts 3, I'd say this leap from 3 to 4 is a bigger leap than 2 to 3 in terms of artistic fidelity. And I know that's a crazy claim to make, but I don't know. It just seems like a whole nother level to me, at least in this aspect. Though it is cool that obviously this is supposed to be story here, the light piece to rule them all. We zoom in. The choice, and that's another thing. The reason I think Sora could possibly be traversing these other unrealities is because the choice is not just yours, the choice is yours once more. So Sora, in the past, has had the freedom to defy fate, the freedom to go against his reality, the freedom to go against the time and the future itself. So, of course, he could have the choice to do it all over again. But what would that cost him this time? Or if he does it right this time, will it cost him anything? There's so many propositions, so many options, because the choice is yours once more. That's all. Ooh, like, look at the fate. Look at the curtains. I'm sorry. And here we go. The most controversial part of the entire trailer. Actually, no, the most controversial part of the entire trailer shows up right here. Right here. Hold on. Look at his toes. Look at his sore feet. Everyone, quick, get your feet pics. All right, no, but let's get to the real thing that everyone's a little bit concerned about. Soctus? Nora? Everyone thinks it just looks like Noctis with a Sora recolor. And notably, unlike a lot of people, and I'm not gonna, like, no, I can't call people ungrateful. Notably, because a lot of the people I've reacted to have been invested in the series longer than I have. So I'm not going to say anything about them. But personally, if I were just to throw my own take into the barrel, I really like this look for Sora. I like the general art style shift. I love the realism behind it. Like, look at the strands of hair. And this may just be me, an artistic nut job. that's just who I am. I'm not gonna lie. I do love upgrades and artistic detail, but this just looks beautiful. Look at the strands on his clothing. Look at the detail. Look at the necklace. The only thing that does look weird admittedly is the necklace. I don't think they got like this whole area here looks a little bit strange. I think they put so much emphasis on the hair and the clothing detail that they kind of messed up. They see he's still got a little bit of Play-Doh face, but I still think it looks gorgeous. Like, look at his eyes. Nutty. However, there's so many questions to be asked here, right? So we'll let him. Look at him. He's so pretty. Look at his eye. Are his eyes even a different color? But like the beauty here is just unbelievable. Look at the pillow. Shoot. I know there are multiple Sora fangirls that would lick the life out of it. All right, but he's waking up notably. Sora feet. However, he's waking up notably for the first time, and he doesn't know where he is. So many questions come from that because seemingly, if we're to take the ending of Kingdom Hearts 3 at face value, right, and disregard the secret ending, because I think that now not the secret ending, it is a secret ending because the Lushu thing was an epilogue. So I think that's just not canon. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Oh, then again, the Zora fight. The thing is there, right? Sora, hold on. I'm doing it right here, right now. Let me look at the Sora fight good ending. I need to double check it. Hold on, let me see. But essentially, the thing I'm wondering is that how did Sora get here? Get new clothes, lose his clown suit? Like, so many questions are here. Because the thing is, right, hold on. If I'm remembering properly, in the bad ending, Zora freezes you. I know that he freezes you and said, "I will save you," and then you have to fight the boss again. But in actuality, good ending. Yeah, give me that good ending. Because I know he says, "Oh, apparently I'm not needed yet," and then he just dips into oblivion. But essentially, the reason I'm wondering this, right, is because I don't think any of the conclusions we got, either at Remind or in Base Case 3, none of that lines up with here. Like, none of that makes sense, I think? Because, yeah, he fades away. And then, back in the final world, then he wakes up. And then you get the famous Lux Sword. Yeah, okay, so, yeah, there's no real definitive way for Sora to end up here. But notably, as he always does, he's sleeping. So, and we know the lines of sleep. Like, how can I hit the Cherokee voice real quick? You know, the lines of sleep and death. That's more Mickey Mouse. But in actuality, we know that the lines of sleep and death touch, and that regardless of the end of the fight, Sora isn't in a random lodge living with his best friend Strutzia chilling out. He's either wandering around the city in his old KH3 clothes, or he's back in the final world. So I'm wondering, how did Homeboy get here? Like, what happened? What, like, dude, where? I don't know. And I wonder why his clothes are different. Like, maybe this is just an effect of, but then again, no, actually, notably, no. So this is, I'm leaping and jumping through images in my head. But in the KH3 final ending, or secret ending, what you see is Sora wandering around Quadratum at nighttime. Currently, it's the middle of the day. So, and like Celestia gives us a detail that's interesting later too. So what does that mean? What could it possibly mean? Could it mean that Sora is like, was this just an effect of him merging better with Unreality? Because notably, the main issue that everyone has with Sora here is because he looks so much more. Whoa, we didn't get to that yet. But the main issue everyone has with Sora here is that he looks so much more realistic. Like, he looked better in KH3, but he didn't look necessarily realistic. But this Sora seems to have like the traditional look of someone. He doesn't, like, just look at him. This does not look like the Sora we've seen for the past 20 years. But the reason I think that could be happening is just because of Unreality. Why are his ears so big? His ears are massive. I thought I had big ears. I mean, I do have big ears, but still, gee. But in actuality, I think that's just a byproduct of it being an Unreality. Because take a look at our next, I was going to say our next guest, but really our next victim. Sora gets up, opens the door, bada bing, bada boom. Look who it is. Who's gonna tell her? She shouldn't be alive. But in actuality, yeah, she shouldn't be alive. And this goes into the whole discussion I was having earlier. What? And fun fact, this is actually the first time we get to see Celestia in 3D. like at all. Like we have no basis to compare her to, other than her 2D death model. But even then, notably, she looks a lot simpler. And a big thing to note about Sora's new outfit. Hey, any of my Nomura fans out there, what's Sora missing a lot of? Zippers. So like, this just seems to be a world that affects you the longer you stay there. Like, I think this whole appearance of Sora just comes from him existing within Quadratum, existing within this unreality. It wouldn't be the first time that a world kind of, or I mean, to be fair, like it's a, I think it's just no, like in KH1, Donald just says it's the magic, but essentially, it would not be the first time that a world has forced Sora to change appearance to conform to its ideals. Look at Atlantica, look at Pride Lands, look at Halloween Town of all places. Like, the worlds can force you to change if need be. And considering this is essentially Sora's Purgatory Part 2, I'm not shocked that he sort of melds to fit here better. And you can even kind of see it in Strelitzia. Notably, the reason I brought up the zippers thing is look at Strelitzia's dress. It's a lot simpler than it was in Union. However, it still has the same aesthetic. Just like Sora, for the most part, still has the same red and black aesthetic. It's just, it's a lot more realistic. This unreality is much more real. So, what does that mean? Does it mean... But notably, this unreality, despite being more real, is not foreign to the idea of... It's going to sound weird, but these creatures... to quote Shadow the Hedgehog, these black-wearing creatures. But in actuality, like, these guys aren't that different from their original selves, but they're different enough to be noticeable. And big detail that Celestial points out here, you've been asleep since you arrived in this world 7 days ago. Notably, we know the number 7 is infinitely important in Kingdom Hearts. 7 lights, 7 princesses of heart, 7 everything. Like, being real. Probably 7 realms. Like, what? Let's see. Light, dark, sleep, death, final world, unreality. I need one more. Realm of nothingness. There are even 7 realms within Kingdom Hearts. So, obviously, there's a whole ton of stuff to lay bare about the number 7. So 7 days probably matters for some reason. It's probably where this assimilation fully happens. If the Yozora fight is canon at all, because notably, I don't think, like being real with you, I don't think the secret bosses in KH1 or like the secret Omega Super Final difficult bosses in KH1 are and KH2 are really canon at all. Like, the Lingering Will doesn't recognize us, and Sora doesn't necessarily mention the Lingering Will, nor does he recognize any of the Black Coats in Chain of Memories and or in KH2. It's a new concept that he has to be introduced to. And you could argue, no, you can't, because that's a KH1 thing. It's pre-Castle Oblivion. So if he fought the Black Coat in canon, he would have remembered the Black Coat. So I think it's entirely possible that unless Nomura wants to buck the trend here and make that fight canon, that's not real. I think that may have just been a hint for something, and maybe something we get at the start of this game, or something like that. I don't think that ending of Remind is canon. However, what could be canon is that Sora arrives in this world, starts looking around, then gets jumped by Yozora, maybe then has that fight, and then ends up here, ends up being quote-unquote saved, and then put in this different new quote-unquote vessel. His heart has been molded to better fit on reality, just like Strelitzia here. And notably, the tying point between these two is that one way or another they ended up dead, but they ended up dead both while having strong hearts. That's the linking point between these two. And it may be that as strong as your heart is may allow you to keep some bit of your original form, but not all of it. Who knows? And the 7 day, and notably, Strelitzia seems to be alone with Sora. There doesn't seem to be anyone else with them. I don't know if they have parents. I don't know if there's anything there. They just seem to pop up in this world. But a big thing here about Strelitzia being here, right, is he looks so pretty. He looks so, see, there we go. That looks a lot better. I think it was just the positioning from before. Look at him. He's so gorgeous. But the thing about Strelitzia being here is that it implies that this realm, at least for people with strong hearts, may be just like the Realm of Darkness, aka time doesn't pass here. Because you gotta realize, Strelitzia is from the age of fairy tales. She old. Like, simply put, she a little bit too old to be looking this young. Like, I'm not gonna lie, she still looks around the same age as him. They both look about 16. she should at least be 30. And that's lowballing. So, look, what? So, it's 70? And she predates even him? Because she perished before RMC perished. And RMC literally reincarnated into Xehanort, who lived for 70 years. So maybe time flows differently here? Who knows? 7 days apparently have passed. So it can't flow that differently, because if 7 days have passed, and in real time, Celestia's only been here for like 7 days, then everyone in the original reality would be aged to death. But I don't think so. So I'm wondering what her situation is. And who knows? An idea that I just thought of right now, and who knows, maybe it already been being discussed, is that maybe this isn't the real Strontia. Maybe this is her data, and that's why she's ageless. Because notably, you see, once again, tying back into Union Cross, a game that they really need to remake, there is a moment where you get to see, I believe, Luciu carrying Celestia in the data Daybreak Town. And notably, Celestia's data, well, Celestia's real body faded, but her data still existed within data Daybreak Town, so this could be her data given form and given consciousness, essentially akin to a data Sora, except that this one got a vessel and managed to live a genuine life for however long. Meanwhile, Sora is just new here, and thusly he would age if he stayed here too long. Or once again, it could just be time doesn't flow here, and Celestia's been living alone for who knows how many years. But she doesn't, unlike Aqua, she doesn't seem too perturbed about it, because at least there are other people here. But interesting ponder. Sora, put your gosh darn shoes on, my boy. Okay, so she knows what it is, which is a very important stepping stone, right? She knows that this is Quadratum. And it's gorgeous. Okay, I'm sorry. Miyamasu in Fastidio Hill. Don't know if that means anything. Look at all these people. Look at all these normal. Oh, he looks rough. Hold on. Ready. Oh, I'm on pause. Oh, he looks rough. He looks very, very rough. Oh, he's not even holding his phone right. How are you holding your phone like that, my boy? But in actuality, I don't blame him. He's showing it for like 2 seconds. He even got a little cow like there. Shouts to him. However, he's on the phone. And the thing is, he's on a real phone, too. It's not on a stupid gummy phone. So, obviously, this has to be our reality. But, hold on. So let's see this proceeds to describe, right? This is Quadratum. It's a world full of life. Interesting, right? That's the thing that may make it distinct from the realm of darkness. But time has to pass it. Maybe it doesn't pass for them. I don't know. Because if it's a world full of life, I'm assuming this life isn't stagnant, unless it's like a Groundhog Day thing where this world is set up and it just endlessly loops and loops and loops and loops and loops, and there's never really any time passage here, which could explain Celestia's age also. I think maybe Keyblade wielders or people with strong hearts just don't age in this realm. And that may, honestly, hold on. Big brain, it's expanding. But notably, no one could find the Master of Masters. Like, no one at all. That dude dipped, and he dipped good. He was gone. However, seemingly, supposedly, if you will, there was some chance that he still survived, right? Sure, he gave his eye to Luciu, but he left. Where could he have left him? It's possible that the Foretellers did not know about the Realm of Darkness, and maybe he just chilled in there. We know time doesn't pass in there, and he easily could have waited it out. But I feel like a presence as strong as him wouldn't just be able to go hiding for that long in a realm where multiple people with the ability to sense lights and darknesses would be. However, if there's another realm where time doesn't pass and also happens to be void of light and darkness, I wonder who could be there. But I really do think the Master of Masters could have been chilling right there. And who knows, maybe we'll see that. However, there's obviously big things to tackle here. And that's where the whole idea, right? She says, it's a world full of life, but for you and I, it's similar to an afterworld, I suppose. So, notably, what Soroti is saying here is that in all the time that she's been here, who knows how long it's been, it could have been a week, it could have been a couple of days, it could have been a couple of minutes, for all we know. But, according to her, in this time, she's realized that no one else is like her, or at least no one else will admit that they're like her. They all have lives to live, they all have things to do, this reality is natural to them. Meanwhile, as she says, for her and Sora, it's like an afterworld. It's like a place you go after the final world, where maybe you don't age your body. It's like, the weird thing is, right, I'd say the final world was a perfect representation of purgatory, but now we have this. We have this quote-unquote afterworld, which would be Quadratum. So what does that mean? Does that mean I wouldn't consider this like a heaven equivalent? Like we have Mount Olympus, but in actuality, like there's questions here to what this world is supposed to be, and why seemingly only people like Cersei and Sora would end up here and consider it an afterworld if they couldn't find anyone else. Wants this dude be the master of masters? I just thought about that. However, we see this darkness ball here, and you know he don't waste no time. Kablamo, kablooey. My name is Ratatouille. And bada bing, bada boom. Now, notably, as every other Kingdom Hearts fan has already identified, I'll take my invisible mixed with a bit of dark side and the Guardian mixed well and scrambled well, please. Thank you very much. But essentially, that's what that bad boy is. It seems to be a combination of multiple different things with wings that may actually function. Interesting. Notably, Darkseid's wings are much smaller. But I don't know. It's very interesting that this, once again, like I said, the darkness only spawns here 7 days into Sora being here and him waking up. Not anything else beforehand, but when he woke up, that's when this thing happened. And we see, obviously, Darkseid Invisible McGee here, with a little bit of Guardian in him, is like, you know, this is a whole new world, a different, certain kind of view. I will lift these cars, roar out and serve you. And he's immediately wreaking havoc, essentially. And this is, admittedly, like, by far the most havoc we've ever actually seen a Heartless or any kind of dark being wreak on civilians themselves, not just the Keyblade, which is interesting. I wonder if that's a byproduct of there's two solutions, but I think A is least likely. Either A, everybody has strong hearts here, and that's why it's like, I gotta attack everybody. To be fair, Heartless attacked anybody before, but still, like, to this insane degree that we're actually seeing on camera, versus the idea that it's a completely new world. The Heartless is kind of confused and lost, and is just following its base instincts, which are to destroy and, I mean, I'd say conquer, but I don't think it's conquering anything. I think it's just on its destroy kick. So, who knows? I'm very intrigued to see what the reason this thing's here for. If it is really just tied into Sora, once again being that sort of parasite angle, and he's brought this thing with him by accident. Because we know, like, in Kingdom Hearts 1, the dark side that we first fight, while very easy, is born from Sora's shadow. And Sora being a being from the true reality that has always harbored darkness within his heart. And actually, it kind of makes sense, low-key, because this amalgam creature that we see that seems to be the Guardian, Invisible, and Darkseid all put together. All this seems to lean, like, if you were to ask me, it all seems to lean towards the major dangerous creatures of darkness that Sora has fought that aren't human. So, who knows? It could be a possibility. You know what I'm saying? However, obviously, he ain't too happy here. Just like real people, they are recording the incident instead of simply running. They are better than me. But there we go. He goes, and like notably, he goes trucking. Sora, that's not how you run though. You gotta open your thumb. You gotta open your hands up. But he is trucking. And notably, I'm not sure why he had so much confidence this would happen. But he does throw out his hand, and the Keyblade does come to him. Now, notably, I'm trying to see something interesting. Okay. So, I think Sora has gotten better mastery over his... Yep, there we go. Perfect. Sora has gotten better mastery over the manipulation of his Keyblade after KH3. Mainly because, look at what the keychain is right now. It is the traditional Kingdom Key special. You know, Mickey Mouse head, bada bing, bada boom. And Sora lunges in to go fight the Heartless, or the Darkness. And we transition to a beautiful gameplay shot. I love the parkour. Can't wait to do that in real game. But, you see him? He lances... Oh, there we go. I kind of skipped. Like, my brain lagged. However, look at the... If I could just get what I need. Okay, look at that. He is using the hilt of his keychain, or no, he's using his hilt as a grabbing point and using the rest of the keychain as a grappling hook. Interesting. I don't know. That's very, very interesting. I wonder how did he know how to do that on command? Is that just something he could always do and he never did? Very interesting. I wonder if, let's say I gave him any training. Notably, there's so many different possibilities this way could go. However, Sora lunges in, and he still has, and notably, despite this being an unreality, not only does he have access to the Keyblade, but he has access to essentially all of his Cage 2 endgame supernatural abilities. And he has this. Like, there's so many things that are happening right now. And to be fair, this may be based off the HP. And who knows, it could just be like early game stuff and like they just beef the HP to trick you. But look at Sora's HP and look at his EX gauge. There is a lot of HP there. So this is a mid-game fight? A mid-game boss? I don't know. I'm very intrigued to find out. Because that health seems like a lot for a starting level. Even on easy or beginner. And we get to see Sora blocks it. Then he fires off a drill spike, I guess. I'm not necessarily sure what that is. However, it does stagger the Heartless. And we get to see that the Heartless, despite being staggered, goes in for a swing, but then we cut away. So I think something does happen there. However, we see that as Sora is fighting the Heartless, what assumingly is the Master of Masters and maybe Lushu pull up and are like, if you leave this world behind, don't expect to return to the one from which you came. And that's interesting, because that's Sora's only goal, right? He would want to get back to his reality. He wouldn't want to stay in unreality. So it's possible, but then again, like, how would the Master of Masters know that? Like, I mean, maybe he's just bluffing here, but the fact that he's saying that Sora never has hope of returning to the one that whence he came, does that mean regardless? I mean, I highly doubt that he's going to be trapped in Quadratum for forever, but I wonder what he means by that. Does it mean like the Master of Masters himself has tried to go back and Sora never could? Who knows? Who knows? Or no. The Master of Masters has tried to go back and couldn't, but Sora could. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. And honestly, another interesting conundrum that is present here is the whole idea of the fact that you can leave this world, but so I guess it's only like a progression system. You can go deeper and deeper into unreality, but you can't pull back. Very interesting. Oh, look at the black coats. They look beautiful. However, we get to see here, right, that the Master of Masters says all that. Then we cut. Beautiful Kingdom Hearts. Full. The only one critique I will kind of agree with is that they should have kept that same, like, they just need to lighten the middle up a little bit more so it matches the heart behind it. That's the only critique I have for the logo. But other than that, beautiful, beautiful. Donald, Daddy Duck, walking along with Goofy, and honestly, I do just think they are, like, the gang is investigating different parts of where Sora could be, and thusly, Donald and Goofy, with so much experience with Olympus, go find Hades since they know he deals in the afterlife. And obviously, this is the first time they've confronted Hades without Sora, so they're a little bit scared and concerned. And Hades is wondering what they're doing in the underworld, goes angry, they scream, and they get ready. So, magic in the making. Overall, this is a very, very, very solid trailer. I really, really like it. It does just what I want, right? And honestly, this could be the only trailer for the game, and all they drop is a release date. I really don't even need more. But this trailer does everything a good trailer could do. It sets up questions and answers some things, like where Sora is, what Sora's doing right now. It shows, essentially, it raises more questions than it answers, and leaves a whole ton of room for the game to extrapolate on. And that's what I love the most. So, those are my thoughts on the trailer. Please tell me your thoughts on the trailer in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you hit that little notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do a Patreon down below where you can support for as low as $1 a month. Any support would be appreciated. Thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Zach the Pencil, writing off.